When we created our first component, we have made use of the selector metadata as part of our add component decorator. And we have given the name my-app, but we haven't checked if the app was running. Make sure that your dev server is still running. Go to your terminal on Mac or command prompt on Windows and check if the dev server is still running. If it's not, you could make use of ng-serve command to start your development server. Once you've made sure that your server is running, let's go to the browser and see how our application is working. We see that the application says loading and we don't see anything after that. So let's inspect using the Chrome developer tools to see what's wrong. In here, we see that there's an exception and then it says the selector my-app did not match any elements. That's because we have created a component with the selector of my-app and we haven't used it anywhere yet. So let's go to our index.html file and make some changes there. Back in the Visual Studio Code, now let's open our index.html file. We see that there is a tag for app-root. This was created by our Angular CLI, but we changed that to my-app. So what we are going to do is to change this to my-app. And then save this file. Now let's go back to the browser and see how it works. Okay, so now we can see that our component is now rendered in the HTML. And if we try to inspect how it's getting displayed, then we can see that our element my-app, which is the component that we created with the selector my-app, is now getting rendered, and the template that we created in our component gets rendered in between these two start and end tags. So now we understand that Angular uses the selector property from the component metadata to find a match from the DOM based on an element name. The selector tells Angular to create and insert an instance of this component wherever it finds the my-app tag in the parent HTML. The app component selector is named my-app, but what if you wanted to be more descriptive and name it as my e-commerce application? The W3C specs state that custom DOM elements should use a dash in their names. And when you create Angular components, you are essentially creating support for new custom elements. So when you write your selectors for components, you want to use dashes between the words. Now Angular doesn't currently do anything to enforce the dash requirement. So you can create your components without the dash and it will work. But it's still ideal that you use dashes in the component selectors. So if you wanted the app component to be named e-commerce app instead of my app, then we would set the selector to be e-commerce-app, and we would need to change the DOM in our index.html file. So we would go there and change it to e-commerce app, and same with the end tag as well. And once we save these two files and go back to the browser, we can see that the application still runs perfectly and the tags have now been changed to e-commerce app.